Hello everybody, my name is Thor Young. I'm a moderator at Bear Bull Traders, and I'd like to do a recap for you today on my NIO trade. In this trade, I'd actually like to highlight once again pivots and level 2 as well as VPA. These three concepts together I'm going to be covering a lot in a webinar I have coming up soon called the Where, the When, and the How. And we're going to be talking all things level 2 and VPA, including pivots and VPOC and other things like that. So it's going to be a really fun time. If you guys, are a BBT member, it's going to be available for you. If you're not, it might be a reason to come by and check BBT out. So anyway, getting into NIO, NIO has just been a blast of a stock. As you can see, NIO is on quite a rip today. I've had just an absolute fantastic set of trades on it that I'm just really stoked about, and I want to show you a few of the things that I'm doing in order to kind of both hedge my risk and go through utilizing pivots and other such things. So first, I want to show you Zoom. I'm going to actually load my chart that has no pivots on it first, just because when you go to the daily chart, pivots look a little crazy. But notice NIO here is just having an absolutely fantastic run right now. NIO has been, ever since it had some good catalyst back around mid-October, NIO has just been an absolutely fantastic stock to day trade. A lot of being successful in day trading is being on the right stock. And as you can see, NIO was the right stock today. Big shout out to Carlos and Norm. NIO was #1 on Carlos and Norm's list this morning from the pre-market show. Had everybody dialed in on it real nice. You guys want to see more of that? Make sure you're subscribing to the channel and ring that bell on YouTube. Because then you'll get the pre-market show. And Carlos, I mean, that's where I'm getting these kind of stocks, right? So back to the daily. Let's go ahead and get some pivots put up. So I like using the Camarilla Pivot Points, which I find to be absolutely fantastic. As you can see here, the stock played off of these pivots just ever so beautifully today. If you're interested in using them, let me show you that real quick. You can go here. Go to your study config if you're in DOS, and you can go to the pivot point study. You find that right down here around VWAP, right? Pivot point, open that up, and this is how mine is configured. I'll leave it up here for just a second in case you want to do a screenshot. I use line, I use Camarilla Pivot Points. All right, I like the post-market data, so I don't worry about that. And then and then that's how I have everything configured because I want to see it all. All right. So first thing that happened on NIO was NIO had a little bit of a sell-off today, and I noticed when it got down around the previous daily level, it really didn't do much there. And let me show you. It came down here and we threw some higher volume as we kind of approached this previous daily level, and then we bounced. So what I went ahead and did is I marked this level off of pre-market, which was, we had our big, we had our consolidation bar that happened here. But this was our most recent bounce with some good indecision. We moved up, bounced off of here, came back, and I wanted to see what was going to happen at that level. And you can see here when we came down and retested that level again, we had a nice big buy up off of it. And then we started to push up into what was basically an ascending triangle here. So when it looked like it was getting ready to break, I went ahead and went long. Here, you see the volume came in. We went straight up to the R1 pivot here. And look how well R1 has already been working in the pre-market. One of the reasons I was liking NIO was because it was honoring R1, and I like to see it lining up with its pivots in the morning. Lets me know they're going to work a little bit better. I had a little bit of a hold through the pre-market, but finally got a nice break up to my 2-to-1, good partial there. And I took a few more partials as we went. Notice the stock opened. Little trick for NIO. NIO always has low volume on its first minute or two, so you never really want to get long on NIO in the first minute or so. It's normally better to either be in from pre-market or to get in on around the 3rd or 4th minute, because as you can see here, we did this light volume hammer, right? And then we pushed up here, and then the volume came in as we ignited to the top side. So I was fine with all this because I've been in since pre-market. But if you were trying to trade an ORB on this, if you used the full length of the opening candle as your stop, you'd have been okay. But anything tighter than that, and it was going to be a real struggle. So that's why, if you haven't watched one of the YouTube videos by one of our traders, Ryan PDT, that's why he requires at least 1 million shares in volume before he'll take an ORB up. And notice here on our third candle, we had those shares come in just like we wanted, and we finally got a break of our opening range with the volume. if you're waiting for an ORB, your long could have been somewhere around 44.50 or 60, right? But for me, I was already in it, so I got to cheat. So we caught up here. I got a good partial above the daily level. It came back. It reclaimed the daily level. So I added, got 2 more partials, and then I stopped out at break even on my ad. And then it pushed right back down to R1, bounced R1 beautifully through a hammer. So I went long at the break of the hammer, and then it pushed up. And when it came down, something just didn't seem right about the price action. The level 2 didn't respond. I didn't have as much volume on this push as I would have wanted, so I didn't like it. So I went ahead and stopped out at break even just to kind of give it a little more room. And then on the next candle, it pushed down, immediately pushed up and like threw a nice indecision candle. So I went long again. This time I gave it a little bit more room. I gave it the loss of the pivot. So we threw a hammer after that, which was a little scary because it went really close to my stop, but it managed to hold pop up. We got a partial at VWAP. Which I actually threw my partial right here, and I filled a little lower. I thought I was going to get hit a little higher, but whatever. And then I got another partial here, and then I started moving up. Now, these partials are really small ones. I was expecting a big move on NIO today, so I decided not to go too crazy on my partial. So each one of these partials is 10% or less, right? So most of these, like this one here, is actually just 5%, and then I was down to a quarter position by the time I hit there. I really slowed played this one, which was great because I did really good risk on it. Ended up having a great day because I carried still with the smaller partials, a lot more shares up to the top. So I just did a really big drop on a good part of my position all the way up here shy of 48 because I saw this volume come in and push, which I was afraid would create a topside pivot. We're at all-time highs already above any calculatable pivot, right? So I wasn't sure if that would cause a pullback or just do that, so I dropped down. I'm down to only about 10% of my position left now after, even all these small little partials. So anyway, that is my trade here on NIO. Notice how well we hit R4 here, bounced R4, broke it, and then used it as a retest. These pivots hold up absolutely fantastic. After you get them configured, go through your charts and take a couple minutes and just remember they draw before the market opens. So these lines were here before the day transacted. So go back and take a look at them, see how they line up on charts, and you might find that you're able to use them, like right here, as some pretty good indicators for some nice tight entries. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please throw me a like. I'd certainly appreciate that. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day, and as always, keep it green.